coming. Since we've met each other, my name is Jane Taylor, and I am daughter to Sue Mitchell, who is at our book table behind you. If you know Sue, you know me, just a few years ahead of me. We are here today to talk about our book called Living with Your Imperfect Back. Let's start by asking, how many of you would say, right here, right now, sitting here, your back hurts? Mine is. Anybody else? Ooh, lucky ducks. Have you sometime in the last year had a back pain? Do you know that 80% of Americans will experience back pain at some point in their lives? 80% of us. And the doctors know all kinds of things, of doctorly things to do, but they don't understand how to live with back pain. They don't understand how to make it better in your day-to-day lives, because they don't have to live with it, right? Only people who live with back pain really understand what it takes to live through that, to succeed at that, to let your pain be less. And so that was the purpose of our writing this book. Let me introduce ourselves. This is my friend Lori.
Hello. Oh yes, I forget I have to use this. My name is Lori Hyman. In the last 18 years, I have had 4 back surgeries. And they were for specific reasons. And they worked for a while. But because they were for different reasons, it seemed like then I had to have another one for something else. But I still do the things that I love. I do Pilates, and whatever I do with moderation. And moderation is something that we all need to put in our vocabulary, though we know that, we want to take off and do something lickety-split. But really, advanced planning is so much better. And one of the things that I recommend, or we recommend, is before you move, think. Think of what could happen. Think of what you're doing. Because if you think about it, it may or may not be the right thing.
We have lived most of our lives with our brains telling us what our bodies should do, and we just go do it. But now that we have bodies that aren't working quite as well as they used to, I'm sure you're familiar with that, if we can pause for a moment and think, okay, rather than just bending over to the floor, how about if I get my grabber to pick that up? Or instead of reaching way up here every day to get my coffee cup, why don't I put it more in places where I can have it, right? So thinking before you move is a big theme with us. And for the folks who just arrived, would you mind passing those around? Those are our handouts for today, so that you can see what's happening. For our book, this is what our book looks like. Lori and I have spent 2 lifetimes living with imperfect backs. As we were writing our book, we consulted with local neurosurgeons, physical therapists, chiropractors, other MDs, to be sure that we were saying things that are medically correct. But like the tagline says up here, this is what your doctors don't have time to tell you, right? They don't have time to tell us how to live with the pain that we're having until they can work out some ways for your pain to be relieved. They don't live with it, they don't know what that's like. And even the doctors that we consulted with from time to time said, oh, I never thought of that, which you don't unless you live with it. So that was our goal, was to get, if you had more time with a doctor who lived with back pain and who understood, this would be the result. From the beginning, we wanted it to be a compact size. First of all, so it could fit in my purse. And secondly, that it wouldn't be a big, heavy read. You know, when you're in pain, the last thing you want to do is read a big old heavy book.
And
so
And this one happens to be a very easy read. You will find that you will, go through it, and because it's relatable.
I recommend, this is a little silly, but I recommend people put it in your bathrooms. And so you read a couple of paragraphs and think about that, and then you're back a little while later, you read another couple of paragraphs. It's that kind of a book.
You did mean the home library.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. We explore in here, the table of contents starts with what life is like when your back hurts, and some things that we have noticed about how our brains respond to chronic pain. And then we look at alternatives to surgery. If you go see a surgeon, he's going to want to do surgery. That's what they do. If you go see a physical therapist, they're going to want to do physical therapy, right? I go see a chiropractor, he's going to want to crack my back. And so let's see other options to surgeries. I think, and this is just my personal opinion that Lori and I share, that there are far too many surgeries happening without really wonderful results. And I'm so sad about that, but this can help you even through that. We also look at, if you have to have surgery, some things to think about. Getting a second opinion from a different practice, how to prepare for yourself, how to prepare your home, how to what happens in the hospital and how to work through that. But even better, when you get back home, how to reclaim your life again. And so it's full of tips and tricks and ideas and things that we have learned by trial and error, things that work to help you have less back pain.
So, the title of this presentation is Rethink Your Daily Activities. Now, don't think that we're trying to tell you how to reinvent the wheel. We're just giving you some ideas.
You may have heard from doctors, no bending, lifting, twisting. Have you heard that before? BLTs, they like to call that. Bending, no BLTs, no bending, lifting, twisting. I remember when I first heard that, I said to the doctor, so how do I put on my shoes? And he went, wear slip-ons.
Which really and truly is what you should do.
Which really makes it easy. Have you seen the new sneakers now that you can kick off with your heels? You don't have to reach down to them. That's the next pair of shoes I'm going to buy. But that's also same kind of thing. In addition to BLTs, we added naps. No arching, no pulling, and no straining to reach, either up or down. All of these things are going to be harder on your back. And if you can avoid them, life will be a little easier for you. Now, if you'll flip over your handout.
I'm sorry?
Are we missing handouts?
Oh.
Oh, sorry, please, come. I'm going to pass back.
Send it to me and
I have one right here.
Oh, thank you. Good.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Everybody else have one? These are the 6 things we're going to talk about today. And it won't take long. We'll be done in about half an hour. First is getting in and out of things. Chairs, beds, toilets, cars. Second is walking confidently. It's one of the first things that leaves you when you're in back pain, is your ability to walk. You get nervous. You get really frightened of walking, and that's no good. Things to help you with shower and toilet and getting dressed. And then finally, we'll talk about reachers and grabbers and how much in love we are with those. Good.
So, with that being said, how many of you have trouble? I have competition. Trouble getting out of the chair. Well, let me tell you, our mothers told us when we were all growing up to sit back in the chair and sit with your back against it and sit up straight. So we promptly did that, and our posture was straight. But now, now you have to do getting out of the chair differently. You have to move forward or wiggle to the very edge of the chair. Then you have to hinge. And let me tell you about hinging. Hinging comes from your hips. Your back is straight and you are just going from your hips. And as you lean forward and stick your fanny out, you put your hands on your shin or thighs, and you're standing up. Okay, she's standing up, so she's gonna walk around and do whatever she needs to do.
We also recommend, as soon as you stand up, take a moment. Have you ever stood up and gotten a little
Dizzy?
Your blood pressure can drop just from standing up from a chair. And so always I try to, again, thinking before we move, whenever I stand up out of a chair, I give myself a moment and then go on about my business.
So now, sitting, don't plop in that chair. I know you all just want to just plop in that soft, comfy chair, but you want to sit in the middle of the chair, hinging back and placing yourself in the middle of the chair, squishing back and sitting up straight. It sounds like a lot of movements, but it really isn't. It makes it so much easier. And if you will keep your feet flat on the floor, because trying to get up with your feet crossed or whatever is very difficult to do.
While we're here, we didn't talk about this, but do you know that crossing your legs puts your back out of whack? I'm sorry to tell you that.
Yes, it
But
does.
If your back hurts, don't cross your legs. That'll just make it worse.
Well,
Crossing your
this
ankles
is
is
true.
fine.
That they say to cross your ankles. Okay, now we're getting ready to go somewhere. The car pulls up and someone is taking you out for the day. And you decide that you need to get into the car. So what's the best way to get into the car? You turn so you are facing the interior, your butt is facing the interior of the car. Then she sits down, she turns herself around, and she's ready to go. And to get out of the car, she's going to not do that. She's going to do the same thing and get up. It is so much easier to get in the car and out of the car that way. We also have found that some cars are very low.
Have you noticed that? They're low to the ground. They're getting harder to get out of, and I'm sure it's not me.
So they've come up with,
But tell her about it.
they've come out with a handle, and the handle goes right into the, I guess it's where the floor, is it the floorboard?
The side.
You know when your door closes and opens, you've got this space here at the side of the door. There's a little silver bracket. And this car handle, and I'm sorry I don't have it, I meant to bring it, but it's a little, just a handle with a thing to hook it, and you just stick it right there, and you can lean on it as you come in and out of your car. It's a wonderful little device, and I have them in my car. I don't know what happened today, but absolutely. Yep, Amazon
Yeah.
for, less than 20, I'm sure.
She bought me one and I love it. It gets me in and out of the car. Amazing. It's amazing.
Wonderful.
Yep, so testimony from the book table, thank you.
And the other thing is, you know that you have those hooks or handles in your car that also help you when you are getting out of the car. And you should utilize them. Okay, now, getting out of bed. How many of you just get up and just start your day and pop right out?
Yeah? Oh, I wish I
Okay.
could do that.
Well, after I had my back surgeries, they showed me the best way to get in and out of bed, and I'm going to show you.
So getting in and out of bed begins laying on your back. Mhm. God bless her, she really wanted to do this. So you're laying on your back, enjoying your sleep, you've woken up. Now you're gonna roll over towards the side of your bed that you're gonna get out of. Then you're gonna push up with your arms, and at the same time your legs are gonna swing down, and then you're sitting on the side of your bed and can hinge at the hips, put your hands on your thighs, and come on up.
It's not that hard, because what you're doing is once you get here, it's the push from this hand that will lift you up and get you to make your legs come around. So, and you can get back in the same way. You sit on the side of the bed, you put your legs over, you lay down,
Laying on your side and then rolling to your
then
back.
roll over.
Thank you, Lori, for your demonstration.
You're welcome.
And now she's gonna show you how to get up off the floor.
I have to say that people laugh at me as how I get off the floor, because I have a very peculiar way to get off the floor.
But we both like this way very much.
Yes.
So you're scooched over till there's a solid something nearby. You get on your hands and knees. Oh, you didn't use the chair. You use the something solid nearby, or you hinge at the hips. Ta-da! Well done.
Thank you.
It's also very helpful if you're near a chair to use
Yes.
that to push up on.
I like doing it the other way because it just makes me feel a little stronger.
Stronger and powerful you are. Thank you. Good. Number 2 of our daily activities. Let's talk about walking confidently. How many of you are afraid of falling?
Oh,
Yes. I have some bad news for all of us, because I am too. The fear of falling increases your risk of falling. And if you think about it, when we get afraid of something, we get tense. We no longer take nice, long, even steps. We shuffle. And those two things together, the tension and the shuffling, will tend to lead to falling. So better if we can help our brains say, I can get from here to there. That's confidently, I can get from here to there. And if you need assistance with getting from here to there, please do that. I will tell you, it is a blow to your pride to say, I need help walking. It makes me feel old, it makes me feel weak, but it is none of those things.
I had to accept it. And it was something that I had to realize that it was going to help me. It wasn't about anybody else. It was gonna help me.
I have watched my mom, Sue, you may know Sue, back at the book table. She's gone through this process. After her back surgeries, her walking got wobblier than it had been, and she began to be afraid of falling. And the PT folks said, I think you need a walker. And her immediate answer was, I don't need that. I'm strong and tough. I don't need a walker. But as time has progressed and as she has embraced having a walker, she now feels like she can go and do anything so long as she's got the walker with her. And that's the truth. She feels very, very confident with the walker. She doesn't even have to lean on it necessarily. We've done experiments where we're walking in the mall and she just touches it with one finger and she's good to go. You remove the one finger, she starts wobbling, right? So it's a lot of mental changes that have to happen in us to accept what's happening in our bodies. We do need assistance sometimes.
And that assistance is some of these tools that we brought. I have this tall cane, and the reason that I have a tall cane is because I wanted to stand up straight. Because one of the problems that I have is called kyphosis, and that is the hunch of my back. So when I am with this, 9 times out of 10, I can stand up straight. But there are other tools. This is a very handy walker. It's very lightweight, it collapses very easily, and it can go in the car. It's something that you could take on a trip or wherever you might need it.
Actually, Lori is taking her family on a cruise in July, and she's going to take that with her, and it'll be the first time that she's used a walker like that.
Yeah.
But I told her not only would that help her be more confident, it'll also give her a place to carry all her packages.
Right. Then, as you all know, this is a collapsible cane because you can put it in your carry-on and you will always have your cane with you. Mine also collapses. This is another kind of cane, and I know you've probably seen it. A lot of golfers use it, but this has got a nice big seat. It folds up. Let me see if I can do it to show you.
So you can carry it and walk with it like a cane, and then you can use the seat when you need to sit down. So it's a nice twofer.
At night, and a lot of us walk at night, or you got a flashlight.
You see that it's not on, but can you see there's a flashlight in the end? Isn't that great? Put lots of things together.
But this is just very, very convenient to have. This is another thing. How many of you sit at night and read your Kindle and can't see it?
Are you reading a book or a Kindle at night and having trouble seeing it, not enough light? Lori has a handy dandy tool for that.
What you do is you press the button.
So without having to use your hands, you get extra light right where you're reading.
So you can see the book and read and don't have to worry about it.
Thank you. We talked about fear of falling, and I skipped over how to fall. Because it's an important thing to be aware of. How many of you have taken a fall sometime in the last 5 years? Oh yeah, oh I'm so sorry. Yeah, falls are not fun. But there are things that you can do to help your fall not be quite so hard. That's a good way to put it. I'm going to read you a little bit out of our book, and it's the section about falling. We've talked about preventing a fall, but what happens when you do fall? We think it's unlikely you'll have time to find your book and come to this page and read about how to fall.
This is when you think.
So we're going to give you some tips for your brain to have. Usually, at least for me, when I begin to fall, there's a moment. And usually the moment is filled with, oh no, or uh-oh, here I go. Or some other choice words might be happening in my brain. You know what I'm talking about, right? The moment when you can feel yourself just before you're falling, there's a moment. And here's what you want to talk to your brain about in that moment. Thing number one, stay loose. Try not to tense up. Relaxed bodies are less likely to get injured. It's when we tense and try and catch ourselves is when we break our hands, our wrists, our elbows.
But
So-
sometimes you can't help it. I mean,
You can only do what you can do.
Right.
But it's good to have this in your brain so that in that moment, maybe you'll be able to think. But the first thing really is to relax. Try not to tense up. Think about rolling. Not just landing, but rolling. Like a little pill bug, like a little breathe. Don't forget to breathe, always breathe. If you hold your breath again, you're making yourself tense, right? So try and have a nice big inhale. Bend your arms and your legs, right? Don't try and be tense and tight. Try and bend them. Try and curl yourself up into a ball. You want to, if you can, protect your head. If you're falling face forward, try to turn your head so you don't hit nose first. If you can, put your arms up around your head as you're falling. Try to, if you can, try to go sideways. Try to turn, even if you're heading down face first, give yourself a turn. Because this part of your body is much easier to land on than this part of your body, right? Think about landing on the fatty parts.
Yeah.
But that's true, right? If you can land on your butt, you'll be in better shape than if you land on your ear, right? So just think about being loose and relaxed and rolling. Is that anything new about learning how to fall? Please, yes.
One of the things, my father was into sports, first of all, and he was late in his 80s, and there were like 3 steps at the front porch.
Okay.
And I was going there, and I was calling my mother to say it, and she said, your father fell down the front stairs. And I said, oh no, he's a hypochondriac. This is not going to be a good evening. I got there, and he said, and you know what? I fell down the front steps, and I remembered everything from sports, and I rolled, and I don't have a single pain.
Oh,
You
wow.
roll, so
The concept being that you're falling and you go with the energy. If you stop the energy, that's when you break something.
Right.
So don't think I have to stop all at once. Think I want to dissipate this energy as I go with it.
that's a wonderful, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
And
Oh,
the
it's
other
very
thing
painful.
is if perchance when you fall that you have your cell phone with you, because you will need to call someone or 911 or something for help if you're by yourself. So, but don't hesitate to call for help. Give yourself a few minutes to assess how you're hurt and how you feel.
Don't just get right back up, right? Give yourself a moment just to lay there and say, okay.
But do not hesitate. And when you go to the doctor, make sure you tell him, yes, I have fallen. Because he needs to know that you have in fact fallen. It's embarrassing, but we need to do it.
shower.
All right.
We'll just go, we don't want to keep, we promised you half an hour and we're already there. But, so we're going to skip really, really fast through the next couple of things. And
The
be
shower.
finished.
We all take a shower, whether it every day or every other day. But do you have a non-slip mat in your shower?
Our floors are non-slip.
Or
Your
perfect.
floor, perfect. Do you have grab bars?
Yes.
And don't close your eyes when you're in the shower. And you say to me, why? Because you have a tendency, when you close your eyes, to lose your sense of balance and lose your sense of where you are.
A shower bench or chair will fix that problem
Right?
if you have one of those.
And a long-handled scrubber.
I love these.
And the best thing is take your time, because the minute you rush, something is going to happen.
Invariably, when we fall or when we have troubles, we were going too fast and we weren't paying attention, right? Those are the two things. In the toilet area, getting up and down from a toilet, I think, is harder than getting up and down from a chair. Toilets tend to be lower even when they're high. And so it's hard. So the same thing kind of works for that, but it's harder. You know that there are arms available for your toilet. If you don't know that, talk to the maintenance fellows. They'll be happy to install one for you. Very helpful to have arms or grab bars right there at the toilet that you can help pull yourself out with. Sometimes in my not bending, lifting, twisting, right? I'm trying not to do this. It's hard to get back there to get everything clean. Have you seen a little wiper like this? Let me show you. So
It's a very handy.
you take your toilet paper. There's a little space in here. You just cram it into the little space right there. And you zhuzh it around and finish it back off in the little space, right? Then you wipe and do what you need. And while it's over the bowl, you just push this little end and it comes out and just falls off into the bowl.
Yep.
It's a lovely, it's a nice little, just for that extra spot. It's hard to reach back there sometimes.
Now, a lot of people also put in bidets because it seems like it's easier and cleaner, and that's an option as well.
This is a portable bidet. You can fill this up with water and squeeze, and it just gives you a little rinse. I use this all the time in my bathroom, just for a little more clean. Good, getting dressed.
Getting dressed.
How much trouble do you have putting on shoes and socks? Any? None? Everybody's good, no troubles at all. If you ever have trouble with shoes and socks, there are devices. This is one, you put your sock on over here, put it down on the floor, put your foot into it, get putting on your sock. Makes that easier.
This one you'll see a lot more often.
This is the other variation. You roll your sock onto this, put it on, use the handles to pull it up. And all of these we'll be happy to let you come up and look afterwards if you haven't seen something before. Your zipper.
The zipper pull.
Lori just came back from a beautiful, fancy wedding, and she was very concerned because her dress had a long zipper up the back, and she thought, I'm going by myself, I'm gonna have to ask somebody in the hotel to zip me up.
Yes, I did.
And I said to her, why don't you get a zipper pull?
Well, this was fantastic because I attached it to the back of the zipper and I pulled and my dress was zipped up. I didn't have to call the maitre d' or anybody else to come and zip my dress. And you know, with having a bad back, it's hard to reach back and zip it up. This was a lifesaver.
Well, I'm sure the maitre d' was disappointed.
Well, let me tell you, it's, now we go to some of the tools that I have found to be indispensable. And those tools are grabbers. How many of you have a grabber?
Nice.
You have two. Good for you. Because, you know, this one has a pull lever. This one has a grab and grip, and I believe this one turns. Yes, this one turns so you can get something else.
And that blue inside is rubber, right? So it'll really hold things.
Right, this one is very good as far as holding things. This is one of the ones that I use to get things out of my cabinet that are up too high, even for me, that I have to reach up. Now, I may not use the grabber for the can, but I will move it forward in some cases, and then I can reach it and get it down. Now, this was my first one. This was my first grabber. And most of the grabbers have a magnetic end that will hold things. And there are all different kinds. And most of the grabbers you can get at CVS or Walgreens or Amazon.
And she really does have one in every room.
Yeah.
I mean, really. The last thing I wanted to say is talking about grabbers and reachers. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got actually came from Lori's surgeon. And he said he likes to tell his patients, and we'll end with this, to create your world mostly from about this high, stand up, from about this high to about this high. Make most of what you reach for, most of what you use, rearrange your kitchen, rearrange your closet, rearrange your life so that the things you use all the time are right here.
Like
And not way up here, not way down there.
Like your saucepan permanently on the stove, especially if you use that one all the time. Leave it there. I know we think, but leave it there. It's one less thing that you have to lean over to get.
I actually took my saucepans and put them in the upper cabinet because I'm tall, so the upper is better for me. I never in my life saw saucepans in an upper cabinet, but it's working for me. I use mostly small plates. I don't use the big dinner plates, I use the salad plates. And so I put them in this same area. My dinner plates are in a low drawer because I use them only rarely. So think about your kitchen, your clothes, your dressers, your closet. Think about the things you do all the time and put those things in easy reach.
And the easy reach, really and truly, is what makes it so much better. Because if it's within reach, then you don't have to go look for it. You don't have to go find it. You know where it is.
To thank you for coming to the presentation today, if you want to purchase a copy of our book, we're offering you $5 off. It's normally $22.99, and if you want to purchase from Sue, it's $17.99 today. We also have a website, and you can buy from Amazon or Barnes & Nobles or any other bookstore. It's available anywhere. But it's cheaper today if you want to buy. Sue has lots of books on the table if you want to purchase. We have time for maybe 2 questions. Are there any questions or comments or thoughts?
How'd we do?
Did you find this helpful? You learned something new? Oh, good. You feel encouraged? Pain is so isolating and it's so depressing. We need to encourage each other. I want you to encourage each other. And I thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.